Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to install a rear rack on the Carbon Specialized Diverge. It's a pretty straightforward process, so we'll jump into the steps. Alright, so this is really the only special part that you'll need. This is a replacement seat post clamp that you can get from Specialized. You can get it for about 15 or 20 bucks, and I'll have a part number down below and in the description. But this one is a 30.6 millimeter, which is what you'll need for the Carbon Diverge frames. So the first thing you're going to want to do is remove the stock seat collar. Once you get it loose, you can pull out the seat post. All right, now we're going to put on the replacement seat collar, and this writing should be facing upward, and you can feel a little lip that's on the inside of this, the collar, and that's supposed to be on top. Okay, now we're going to put on the replacement collar. And replace the seat post. Now what you're going to do is tighten down the replacement seat collar just like you would with the stock one, and you can tighten this down to about 6 Newton meters. The rack that I'll be installing is the Toppeak Explorer, although you can install just about any rack on this bike. And one thing to note is that you don't need a disc-specific rack. So even though the Diverge has disc brakes, because of where the caliper mounts, it's below the seat stay rather than on top of it, you don't need a disc-specific rack that gives you the clearance to get around the disc brake caliper. So you could use a disc brake rack if you want, if that's what you have, but you don't need to use one because the disc caliper is already out of the way. And another thing to note is that sometimes the legs of the rack might need a little bit of adjustment to have the right width for your frame, and so you can just gently either bend them in or out so that you get a nice fit on the outside of the frame. These types of racks are really easy to install, and you can just follow the directions for your particular rack, although they all mount just about the same way. I contacted Specialized and I verified that the rack mounts have a 55-pound payload capacity, which is typical for most racks. So even though it's a carbon frame, you do have an aluminum mount, and that gives you enough strength to hold up to 55 pounds. The only issue that I had while installing this rack was that the stock bolts that come with the rack, which are these, were a little bit too long to fit all the way into the replacement seat post collar. So fortunately I had some other bolts laying around that are a little bit shorter. And these are just standard water bottle cage bolts, so you may have something lying around. Otherwise you could grind down the ones that come with your rack if they're too long, or maybe a trip to the hardware store or the bike shop would help you find something that's a little bit shorter. Alright, so that's what the bike looks like with the rack installed. And since this is the Toppeak rack, you can use the Toppeak bags that just slide on and clip into place, just like that. Alright, so here's a closer look at the installation. Let me know if you guys have any questions or comments down below. Thanks for watching.